We know the summary is going to mention our topic, so it's very important right now that we clarify, okay, what exactly is the topic of this article? Reading the title, What Don't We Know About the Cuban Missile Crisis, helps me identify that the topic is the Cuban Missile Crisis, and I'm going to focus in on what I don't know, not what I already do know. This begs the question, though, what do we know? If we're going to connect new information to what we already know, we sort of need to establish what are those baseline facts that the author pretty much considers common knowledge and that we should already know. So let's take a look. So let's look at the things the author makes the assumption that we know, or the general public knew at the time, that it happened, well, in Cuba, that Kennedy, Castro, and Khrushchev were involved, nukes were placed in Cuba by the Soviets, Kennedy and Khrushchev almost started a nuclear war, and of course in the end, Kennedy saved the day. And if I wanted to put this in paragraph form, it would look like this. In 1962, the United States and the Soviet Union almost started a nuclear war. Khrushchev placed nuclear weapons in Cuba to protect the country from the United States. They were able to reach an agreement in the end, and the world was saved from destruction. Sit back and just listen for a second. In a century filled with horrific wars, the Cuban Missile Crisis came close to producing the most horrifying war of all, the final failure, in President Kennedy's words. How and why the United States and the Soviet Union nudged each other to the edge of the nuclear abyss, and how they avoided a suicidal plunge is the paramount story of our age. In lives gambled and saved, it was history's luckiest non-event. It was insane, Kennedy remarked, that two men sitting on opposite sides of the world should be able to decide to bring an end to civilization. But these many years later, that insane possibility still exists and governs the way nuclear weapons states function. A new history of the decisions that led to the Cuban Missile Crisis, and a close analysis of the decisions that produced its peaceful resolution, thus remain compelling and relevant. I've taught you some ideas about summarizing, things we know. Then I taught you the steps of gist, and those are the things that we do when we summarize. And here we are. We're at the very beginning of the article. We're about to read the introduction, and you may be of the belief that we're going to just launch right into using the steps of gist and finding the key ideas, but we're not. And you're like, what? I'm sure you've learned before in your language arts class how good writers use a hook, something to get the reader interested. Well, this article is no exception. The author uses the first two paragraphs to write about the Cuban Missile Crisis in a more broad way, painting a picture for us of the entire topic. It makes sense to help us tap into what we already know, so we'll be mentally prepared to learn new things. Just like a great novel, this article starts by helping us look around and get our bearings. Oh, okay, we're talking about history, mid-century war nukes, before Kennedy's assassination. Got it, I'm there. His words paint a picture of a century filled with wars, how the crisis almost ended in nuclear war, how Kennedy deemed it insane. And these are all generalities, and the author deems them kind of as common knowledge. Much of the first two paragraphs, then, are not really necessary in terms of collecting ideas for your summary. But if we were to make the mistake of deleting the entire introductory section, we'd lose something pretty darn important, and that is the thesis statement. Wait, what? What's a thesis again? Don't worry, I've got your back. Now, I've learned that a thesis statement is a short statement that summarizes the main point of an essay. Okay, wait, if a thesis statement is a short statement that summarizes the main point of an essay, we also learned that a summary is a short statement that points out the main idea. So what exactly is a thesis statement? How is it different from a summary?
Greetings, peasants. I'm Theseus, your helpful thesis statement. I'm like a travel agent, guiding you through the dense forest of words on the page. We will be sailing on the glorious ship I named New History. It will be... No, not that one. Hold please. It will be my pleasure to help you navigate the decisions that led to and then prevented nuclear war. My job is to help you see the big picture, the map we will follow on our journey. So, in essence, the first part of the article introduces you to the topic and then gives you a map of how to read the rest of the article. I will be your guide as we move through the illustrious world of nuclear annihilation. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. Just keep your fingers far away from the red button, please, and thank you. A thesis is a short statement that summarizes the main point or claim of an essay. This one sentence offers you a kind of map that guides you through the rest of the paper. It is developed, supported, and explained by means of examples and evidence.